Hey everyone, welcome back to another recap of the CW's sci-fi hit The 100, which is in its 6th season. Last week we ended on a cliffhanger with Clarke's body being used to host someone named Josephine. Is Clarke gone for good, or can they get her back? Let's find out. Like and subscribe for daily content. The episode begins with Russell questioning the lady who hijacked the 100's ship. He shows her some objects and says that some people were saved. I'm not really sure who he's referring to, probably family members. The lady's excited, and then Russell starts to question why she and the others left the planet to begin with, and before she can really explain, Clarke walks out and surprises the lady. The lady recognizes her as Josephine instead of Clarke. They argue about someone named Isaac and what led to his death, and then out of nowhere, Josephine stabs the lady in the neck, and her body drops to the floor. Russell and his wife don't look that upset really, and Josephine tells him that she's going to go have a shower. Sometime later, Josephine is taking her new body out for a test drive. She's dancing around and painting pictures of Clarke, and Russell and his wife walk in and they kind of smile from the doorway, because apparently it's cute when your psycho daughter returns, I guess. Josephine tells them that she isn't sorry for what she did to the lady, that a few decades on ice will teach her a lesson. They tell her that more of the 100 may be candidates to host, and they want Josephine to pretend to be Clarke and find out more. She doesn't want to at first, but instead insists that they let her take over the breeding program to create more hosts, but the parents went out. You can tell that after 6 years on this show, the actress playing Clarke is really enjoying herself and playing a different character. Elsewhere, Jordan walks up on Delilah, who is now Priya, and he offers her a flower, and she still acts very disinterested in him. Based on what happened to Clarke, I'm assuming that Priya now inhibits Delilah's body. Jordan's telling Bellamy and Murphy about his concerns, and they just blow him off, saying he shouldn't expect her to be the same after they shared a one-night stand. Josephine enters and prepares to gather information. She's going over who everybody is before she speaks to them, and Maddie runs up to her to give her a hug and kind of throws her off a little. She asks if she can go to school there on Sanctum, and Josephine tells her it's fine. Bellamy approaches and asks if she had fun with the doctor the night before, to which Josephine says it was nice and that it'll be a while before he recovers. Bellamy obviously finds this a little odd, but he just leaves. I'm sure he's just happy that Clarke appears to be liking boys again, and now maybe he has a shot. I can so see Josephine having a thing for Bellamy and using Clarke's body to get what she wants. Guy is upset that Clarke let Maddie go off to the school, and Bellamy tells her to calm down. Delilah's mother offers them food, and Jordan asks her what happened to Delilah. She just says that her daughter is one of the primes now, and they should celebrate that. Somewhere out in the woods, Octavia and Diyoza are chasing after one of the others, and then they end up in this planet's version of quicksand. The harder they fight, the quicker they sink. Josephine goes to visit Abby, who's having a bit of a meltdown. She hasn't slept in days, and she's completely focused on saving Marcus's life. Abby asks her to write some things down, and then notices that she's using her right hand instead of her left hand. Apparently Clarke's a lefty, and Abby instantly spots this, but she shakes it off and ends up going back to her research. Bellamy and Murphy sneak into the lab where Clarke became Josephine, and they're surprised to see all the skeletons. They find Jordan in the lab as well, looking for answers as to what happened to Delilah, and Gaia is also there. Josephine enters, still pretending to be Clarke, and tries to get them to leave the lab, but Gaia notices several of the skeletons have the mark of the commander. This distracts them for a moment until Jordan finds another room. This is the place where Clarke was turned into Josephine. Jordan hacks into their computer, and they find a video of the original primes performing experiments on a girl. They do to her what was done to Clarke. They're watching a video of the first time Josephine was brought back. She panics and tries to escape her father and his assistant Gabrielle. Eventually, she comes to her senses and recognizes her surroundings. They explain to her that they brought her back after the events of the eclipse. They reverse engineered their memory drives to back up their whole mind, hence why they're able to bring them back in another body. This is some Battlestar Galactica stuff right there. Meanwhile in the woods, Octavia and Diyoza are still in the quicksand, and Octavia is of course not listening to anything she's been told and keeps struggling and sinking. Diyoza, on the other hand, is calm and unmoving. She asks Octavia if she really wants to die, and she pulls a gun on her. Octavia is unfazed and tells her she's not scared of it, and Diyoza tells her that she's been there, she was one of the worst people in history, but she's chosen to turn her life around, and Octavia can too. Josephine's parents come to see her, and she tells them that Bellamy and the others broke into the lab and that they found out everything. She tells them that there's more Nightbloods that they can use, and Russell tells her to continue to pretend to be Clarke and find out just how many more Nightbloods there are. As the group are talking about their next move, Murphy makes the comment that Nightbloods can be made in the lab, not born. Josephine takes extreme interest in this, and before anything else can be said, Jordan confronts Priya for taking Delilah from him, and she tells him that Delilah went willingly. Josephine leaves to report the news about making Nightbloods to her parents, and Bellamy follows. He gets her in private and starts to figure out that she's not really Clarke when he speaks to her in a different language that Josephine doesn't understand. She asks him to repeat what he said, and just as he's putting it all together, she stabs him in the neck with one of the paralyzing darts. And Bellamy's helpless to do anything as Josephine introduces herself to him. Back in the woods, one of the men who they'd been chasing throws Diyoza a rope so she can pull herself free of the quicksand. Octavia is too far gone though, and something is approaching. She tells Diyoza to leave her. Diyoza runs to safety as Octavia sinks beneath the sand, and out of nowhere this light flare fries the trees in the woods, and Diyoza runs back to save Octavia. Josephine goes to Murphy, and he figures out that she's not Clarke. She tells him that Clarke is dead and that her parents used the body to bring her back. Before Murphy can run, she offers him a deal, telling him he could be immortal as well. He looks concerned for a second, but then he tells her that he's interested. The episode ends there, and I've got to say that I'm really intrigued with where the show's going. I'm getting major Battlestar Galactica vibes from this storyline, and I am loving that. I'm going to leave this one right here. Be sure and like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and come back next week for another recap.